Respected, there comes a night in many lives when two souls stand at the edge of something sacred, something fragile, something that will be remembered long after words fade. And in that moment, what matters most is not the body, but the unseen meeting of hearts. Respected listeners, tonight I want to speak to you not about performance, not about perfection, and not about the fantasies the world sells so loudly. I want to speak about the inner world, the silent world, the world Carl Jung often reminded us holds more power than anything we can touch. Your first night together is not merely an event of closeness. It is a psychological crossing, a meeting of shadows and light, a moment when two inner worlds dare to stand without armor. Many people arrive at this night carrying invisible luggage. Past wounds, expectations, fears, comparisons, and unspoken questions walk into the room long before the body does. Jung taught us that we are never just one thing. We are a collection of experiences, memories, and unconscious patterns. When two people come together for the first time, it is not two bodies meeting, but two histories whispering to each other. Understanding this changes everything. There is often pressure, silent but heavy. A pressure to impress, to be confident, to know what to do. Yet true intimacy does not grow from knowing, it grows from allowing yourself to be present, allowing nervousness to exist without shame, allowing the moment to unfold without forcing it into a shape borrowed from someone else's story. The first night is not a test you pass or fail. It is a conversation, and like all meaningful conversations, it begins with listening. Comfort is not created by candles or music alone. Comfort is born when someone feels safe enough to be real. Jung spoke deeply about the persona, the mask we wear to survive the world. On this night, the deepest longing of the soul is not to perform behind a mask, but to gently set it down. That might mean admitting you are nervous. That might mean slowing down. That might mean choosing silence over words and presence over action. In doing so, you create a space where trust can breathe. Trust is not demanded, it is invited. It grows in the pauses, in the respect of boundaries, in the way you notice the other person's breathing, their hesitation, their unspoken signals. Trust says, you are safe here, exactly as you are. And when trust enters the room, intimacy follows naturally, without force, without fear. Many misunderstand intimacy as something physical alone, but Jung would remind us that the deepest intimacy happens when two unconscious minds recognize each other. When you look at the other person and see not an object, but a universe. When you realize they too carry doubts, hopes, and hidden fears. This realization softens the heart. It replaces anxiety with compassion. Your first night together is also a mirror. It reflects how you relate to yourself. If you rush, it may be because you are running from discomfort within. If you feel disconnected, it may be an invitation to slow down and return to the present moment. There is wisdom in paying attention to these inner reactions, not judging them, but learning from them. Every emotion that appears is trying to teach you something about yourself. There is no universal timeline, no correct sequence, no script written in stone. The most meaningful moments often come when expectations dissolve, when laughter appears unexpectedly, when a simple touch carries more meaning than any grand gesture, when being together feels less like proving something and more like sharing something. Remember, this deep-lie intimacy is not about taking, it is about meeting. It is about curiosity rather than control. It is about respect rather than urgency. When you approach the first night with this mindset, it becomes not a source of anxiety, but a doorway to growth, connection, and self-discovery. This night, if approached consciously, can teach you how to be gentle with another human being and with yourself. It can show you that vulnerability is not weakness, but courage. And it can remind you that the most powerful connections are built not in haste, but in presence. As the night deepens, respected listeners, something subtle yet profound begins to happen when two people choose presence over pressure. The mind, which once raced ahead with expectations, slowly quiets. The body, once tense with anticipation, begins to soften. Jung believed that when we stop resisting what we feel, transformation begins naturally. This is true here as well. The first night together becomes less about what should happen and more about what is happening. In this space, communication often occurs without words. A glance held a second longer. A breath that syncs with another. A pause that feels safe rather than awkward. These moments may seem small, yet they carry the weight of trust. They say, I am here with you, not somewhere else in my mind. And in a world addicted to distraction, this kind of presence is rare and deeply healing. Many people fear silence on the first night. They rush to fill it to avoid feeling exposed. But silence, when shared, is not emptiness. It is a shared field where two inner worlds gently touch. Jung spoke of the collective unconscious, the deep layer where human experiences overlap. In silence, we often meet there. We recognize something familiar in the other person, something beyond words. This recognition builds a quiet bond that no performance ever could. Intimacy grows when you honor boundaries, both spoken and unspoken. Respecting a boundary is not rejection, it is reverence. It says, your comfort matters more to me than my desire. And paradoxically, this respect often deepens desire itself, because it creates emotional safety. When someone feels they can say no without consequence, they are more likely to say yes with sincerity. Your first night together may awaken old memories, a past relationship, a childhood experience, a fear of abandonment or not being enough. Jung taught that the unconscious often surfaces during moments of closeness because intimacy lowers our defenses. If these emotions arise, do not see them as obstacles. See them as messages. They are invitations to awareness, to healing, to self-compassion. This is also a moment to notice how you treat yourself internally. Do you criticize your body? Do you judge your reactions? Do you compare yourself to an imaginary standard? These inner voices did not begin tonight, and they will not end tonight unless you become aware of them. The first night together can be a powerful moment to practice kindness toward yourself, to choose acceptance over judgment, and to realize that you are allowed to be human. When intimacy is approached with patience, it unfolds organically. There is no need to rush toward an outcome. Touch, when it comes, becomes an expression rather than a goal. It becomes a language of reassurance, curiosity, and care. Jung believed that symbols speak to the soul, and touch, when conscious, becomes one of the most powerful symbols of connection and trust. Sometimes the most meaningful part of the night is not what happens, but how you feel afterward. Do you feel calmer, more seen, more connected to yourself? These are signs that something real occurred. Intimacy leaves an inner imprint. It reshapes how you view closeness, vulnerability, and love. Remember, this night is not about creating a perfect memory for the future. It is about being fully alive in the present. When you release the need to control the experience, you allow it to become what it is meant to be. And often, what it becomes is far more meaningful than anything you could have planned. In honoring the emotional and psychological depth of the first night together, you are not just building a connection with another person. You are learning how to meet life itself with openness, courage, and respect. And this lesson, once learned, extends far beyond the single night. Respected listeners, as the night moves forward, something even deeper begins to stir. Beyond comfort and trust lies a quiet confrontation with the self. Jung often spoke of the shadow, the parts of us we hide, deny, or fear. Intimacy has a way of gently illuminating these hidden corners, not to shame us, but to integrate us. The first night together is not just about closeness with another, it is about meeting yourself in the presence of someone else. You may notice moments of vulnerability that surprise you, a sudden emotion, a tear you did not expect, a feeling of wanting to pull away and draw closer at the same time. These contradictions are not flaws, they are signs of depth. Jung believed that wholeness is born when we allow opposites to coexist. Strength and softness, desire and hesitation, confidence and uncertainty. When you allow these to exist without judgment, intimacy becomes honest rather than forced. There is a sacred rhythm to genuine closeness. It moves forward, then pauses, then advances, then retreats slightly, only to return with greater depth. This rhythm mirrors the psyche itself. When you respect this rhythm, you honor both yourself and the other person. You learn that intimacy is not linear, it is organic. It responds to emotion, trust, and readiness, not to time or expectation. Often, people believe that intimacy must be intense to be meaningful. But sometimes, its greatest power lies in gentleness. A hand held without urgency. A shared laugh that releases tension. A moment of eye contact that says more than words ever could. Jung understood that symbols carry meaning beyond logic. These simple acts become symbols of safety, acceptance, and connection. As the night unfolds, you may feel a sense of exposure. Being seen, truly seen, can feel both comforting and terrifying. This is where courage quietly appears. Not the loud courage of conquest, but the soft courage of openness. When you allow yourself to be seen without exaggeration or defense, you step into authenticity. And authenticity is the foundation of any lasting connection. This moment also teaches you how you relate to closeness in general. Do you rush intimacy to feel secure? Do you hold back to avoid being hurt? Do you lose yourself in the other? Or do you remain present with who you are? These patterns are not random. They are echoes from earlier chapters of your life. The first night together becomes a mirror, reflecting these patterns with clarity. Instead of judging what you see, approach it with curiosity. Jung believed that awareness itself is healing. Simply noticing your reactions without trying to change them immediately creates space for growth. In that space, old fears begin to loosen their grip. New ways of relating begin to form. True intimacy does not demand that you become someone else. It invites you to become more of who you already are. When two people meet in this way, the experience leaves a lasting impression, not because of intensity, but because of truth. You walk away feeling more integrated, more grounded, more alive. And perhaps the most beautiful realization of all is this: intimacy is not something you give or take. It is something you create together, moment by moment, through presence, respect, and emotional honesty. When the first night is lived this way, it becomes not just a memory, but a meaningful step in your psychological and emotional evolution. Respected listeners, as the night begins to settle and the quiet hours approach, there is often a sense of reflection that arrives naturally. Not the reflection of judgment, but the reflection of meaning. Jung believed that experiences become transformative when we take time to integrate them, when we allow them to speak to us beyond the moment itself. Your first night together does not end when the lights dim or the silence returns. It continues within you, shaping how you understand closeness and connection. In the aftermath of intimacy, emotions may feel tender. You may feel closer, calmer, or unexpectedly vulnerable. These feelings are not signs of weakness. They are signs that something real touched you. When two people meet with sincerity, the psyche opens. And when it opens, it requires gentleness. This is why the moments after closeness matter as much as the moments before. A quiet presence, a shared stillness, a sense of not needing to rush away becomes deeply healing. There is a powerful lesson here about patience. Many people seek immediate certainty after their first night together. They want to know what it means, where it leads, how it defines the relationship, but meaning cannot be forced. Jung taught that symbols reveal their truth over time. Allow the experience to settle. Allow understanding to unfold gradually. Trust that clarity arrives when it is ready. This night also teaches you about responsibility, emotional responsibility. When you open yourself to someone, even gently, you create an invisible bond. Honoring that bond means being honest, respectful, and considerate in the days that follow. It means recognizing that intimacy leaves traces in the soul. When treated carelessly, it can wound. When treated with respect, it can strengthen and inspire. You may notice a new awareness within yourself, a deeper sensitivity, a clearer understanding of what you need to feel safe and connected. This awareness is a gift. It allows you to approach future moments of closeness with greater wisdom. Jung believed that every meaningful encounter moves us closer to individuation, the process of becoming whole. This night, if lived consciously, becomes part of that journey. What matters most is not whether everything felt perfect. Perfection is an illusion of the ego. What matters is whether you were present, whether you listened, whether you honored both your own boundaries and the other person's. In doing so, you practice something rare and powerful in the modern world: conscious intimacy. As you carry this experience forward, remember that intimacy is not confined to one night or one person. It is a way of relating to life itself. It is the ability to meet experiences with openness rather than fear, curiosity rather than control, and respect rather than urgency. When you cultivate this approach, every connection deepens and every relationship becomes more meaningful. Your first night together then becomes more than a beginning. It becomes a lesson in humanity, a reminder that beneath all roles and expectations, we are all seeking the same thing: to be seen, to be accepted, and to be met with kindness.